Hello, cosmonauts. Today we are going to be exploring what Reddit Ask Adults of Reddit. What is something your parents did that you thought was normal until you grew up to find out it wasn't? Answer 1. It's fun looking back on my childhood realizing that I smelled like cigarettes constantly. I never realized because I grew up in it. Then my friends never wanted to come to my place because it smelled like smoke. After living alone for years, I can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke, and if I visit my parents for even 30 minutes, whether they smoked or not while I'm there, it's all I can smell. Answer 2. Only putting $5 to $10 in the gas tank at a time. We never filled the tank all the way up. I thought it was normal to only get gas to get to the places you absolutely have to go. I didn't realize this was different until I moved. We were just really poor and ultimately not in the greatest financial situation. My grandparents still sew this. I filled up her car with my own money this past holiday, and my grandma got so mad because gas is expensive. Answer 3. Spent a long weekend at my friend's place once, and thought I heard his mom yelling at him while I was in the shower. When we were talking later, she told me she had been frustrated that morning, and I said, "I thought so. I heard you yelling at the guys?" She looked confused and a little hurt at that assumption. She told me she doesn't yell at her boys. I believed her, because she has this warmth about her that makes you feel at home instantly. I asked my friend about it though, and he said he couldn't even remember a time where his mom actually yelled at him for something. Getting yelled at was almost a daily occurrence in my house. Even for things like throwing away trash the wrong way, or not washing the dishes the way my mom wanted. Answer 4. My father was an alcoholic through most of my childhood, so he was a regular at the local small-town liquor store. Our grandparents lived halfway across the country, so Thry used to mail us checks for Christmas or our birthdays. We would walk over to the liquor store, and they would pay us cash for the checks. Perfectly normal. It wasn't until I was nearly 30 and my sister and I were involved in a 12-step program called Adult Children of Alcoholics that we were talking about how weird our childhood was, and my sister was laughing at the realization that other people did not, as children, have check cashing facilities at the liquor store. Really not normal. Answer 5. Only child with only mother. My mother was really difficult to deal with for me, and we would argue a lot. I just did not understand certain things, and she would never explain it and just get angry, and I had to sit on the stairs every time, including when friends were over, and they thought it was just so weird. At some point, I did not have to sit on the stairs anymore, but we still argued often. She was often gone in the weekend, which was so good for me, and I was mostly in my room, gone when she was home. I have a way better relation now that I'm out of the house with her. I was thinking about breaking contact first, but it went better from the moment I was gone. Since I was not with her, I just could go home, and beside that, we argue a lot less now. She still can be vague and difficult, though. Answer 6. Very often, one of my parents would say something completely normal. The other wouldn't hear them. The first one would start yelling to be heard, and the listener would get mad because their spouse is yelling at them. Then they'd argue over whether that counts as yelling or not. I thought this was normal. It actually only happens when both people have poor hearing and worse social skills. Answer 7. My mother regularly discussing her shitty marriage with me and why she wanted to leave my father, but stayed because of myself and my sister, and how she sacrificed so much for us, and how she was actually in love with someone else, but he emigrated, and she thinks about him a lot. I was 10-11 when that started. Then all the declarations of, why has God given me these awful kids if we screwed up in any way? I thought all marriages were like this and all kids were as unhappy as me and dreamed about running away or being rescued by a new mom and dad who would love me. Now, no matter how mad myself and my hubby might be with one another over whatever trivial thing, we never ever let the kids see it. I let them know all the time we are lucky to have such great kids and how proud we are of the young adults they have become. I realized when I became a mom that yes, it's hard work, but it's so unbelievably easy just to be a decent human being to them. Still, at 45, I haven't stood up to my mother. Hey you, if you enjoying the video, subscribe for more histories. Answer 8. Being nice, friendly, and generous with outside people. But at home, they were always angry, depressed, arguing, and never had positive emotions. I thought it was normal, and started doing the same. At home, I was sad and depressed, but the moment I saw someone outside of my family, I started smiling. Being funny, always in good mood. After many years, I understood how wrong it was. Answer 9. Eat dinner while watching TV every single night. Part of my childhood. I know we had a table in the kitchen dining nook because I've seen it in pictures, but I have no memory of eating at it. We all had different spots in the kitchen or living room from which to watch Full House, Survivor, Big Brother, CSI, etc. while eating dinner. I mean, I am thankful we were together. I don't mean to cry about having a family eating peacefully in the same space. Never worrying about having enough to eat. Just that I didn't realize that eating at a table and having conversation every night was kind of the ideal. And that my parents at some point apparently decided we don't do that. Answer 10. Kind of a twist on this question because it was the neighbor kid that found this out about his own parents. We invited the neighbor kid over for dinner because he was friends with my little brother. Brother was probably around 9 or 10, so neighbor kid was 7 or 8. We're all sitting around the table. Mom, dad, me, little brother, neighbor kid. My family is talking, laughing, making stupid jokes. Same as always. One of us notices neighbor kid isn't eating or drinking, just sitting there looking at us with confusion and wonder on his face. My dad asked him if he was okay and he said, "You guys get to talk and laugh at the dinner table?" We assured him that, yeah, that was a normal thing to do. And he told us his dad didn't allow anyone to say anything at dinner. Everyone sat around the table in terrified silence. And when the dad was done, everyone was done. You threw your food in the trash and put your dishes in the sink and got the fuck out of the dining room. The guy was a psychopath, obviously. Neighbor kid turned out okay, and as far as I know, so did his sisters. What a fucking childhood. Answer 11. My father wouldn't let my mother go out. He was really verbally abusive to her, and she was only allowed out to go grocery shopping and shopping for him, within a very strict spending limit. If she needed to spend more on something like fem-high products or our school lunches or supplies, he'd get really angry. He also never let her use the washing machine even though we had one. I thought most dads were like that. It was very normalized where I grew up. Answer 12. When my mom worked as a sewing machine operator, she would call all 9 of us kids throughout the day to check in on us, how we were doing, what was new, etc. Some of us were on the West Coast, some of us were the East Coast, and she knew all the biz on everybody and would update each of us on our siblings. She kept us together, still does. She retired last year, so she doesn't call as often, but now she invites us to her house for lunch most Sundays. My husband calls her the godmother, but it's in a good way. I'm really close to all my siblings, and it's because of my parents, especially my mom. Most people, I've come to learn as an adult, don't have this. So thankful to have such a great role model, and I hope to do this for our kids. Answer 13. The whole, I work all day to come home to this, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. My dad was awful to me. Don't make me act like that to you. Generally, all because you were feeling sick so didn't look happy, you washed pots but didn't put them away, or, God forbid, you've washed pots, but someone used a spoon way after you'd finished so it's sitting waiting to be cleaned. Answer 14. Arguing with all of their brothers, chatter, sisters, or shocker relatives, both my mother and my father, for something related to money, inheritance. Thanks to that, I basically never met my cousins. Just a couple of times during those Christmases when they were all miraculously on speaking terms. Now I'm 42 and I do know it was wrong for many reasons, but it still feels normal to me. When I see friends or colleagues with strong bonds with their cousins, I'm still taken aback. Like, you hang out with your relatives? Answer 15. Making us eat on the floor so we didn't get our mom's dining room table dirty. I thought it was normal since we had to do it for so long. I didn't realize how fucked up it was until my mom started dating her ex-husband and he came over for dinner. He demanded for us to eat at the table because he refused to see us get treated like dogs. Answer 16. My parents would audibly have sex even when I had friends sleeping over. They kept their adult movies with the normal movies by the VCR in the living room. And my dad watched porn on the computer while we were watching TV or doing homework in the same room. I knew it wasn't normal behavior, but it was just accepted in my house. Even extended family knew about it. But he had the most money of all his siblings. Money buys permission of horrible behavior.
That was enough for today, Cosmonaut. I'll wait for you in the next travel.